Into the cove we go! No, don't kill me! Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at Sejong, a ship you can get completely for free this update. Just by logging in, you can get one of 5 tech tree tier 9s just for free. That is going to skip the grind towards the really powerful tier 10s. Of course, Lepanto, a pretty obvious choice, getting you up towards Colombo, which is pretty busted right now, let's be honest. And even Riga, going for Petro, much more utility there, a really, really good choice for most people. However, I think Sejong is a little bit underrated choice here. I know a lot of people probably already got this one, but I do think this is one of the most versatile, best DPM light cruiser lines out there. You have incredible HE and AP DPM, really great versatility with these torpedoes, deep water torps that go extremely far, allow you to stealth torp, and you get this torpedo reload booster, allowing you to dump out an incredible amount of torps all at once. And the flexibility of Pan-Asian smokes. Yes, these are shorter than American smokes, but they're not so short as the British short burst smokes like you see on the Daring destroyer line, for example. I find these to be the perfect middle ground between those two. A lot of the times with American smokes, you smoke up, get ready to farm, and then, of course, everyone gets out of range of your smoke because you've been sitting there for upwards of 2 minutes in one spot trying to farm people down. Understandably, they're probably going to react to that within that 2-minute window. However, with the Daring smokes, some of those British short bursty smokes, they feel like they don't last long enough sometimes to allow you to get in a really nice farm on, say, a pushing German battleship with a very exposed superstructure. Pommern, a very nice example of this. And that's where these Pan-Asian smokes come into play. One of my favorites in the game. I do prefer the Daring style smokes on destroyers because I find myself often needing those smokes to get out of a bad situation, not just to farm. And that's where they're super valuable. However, on cruisers, that's not exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for smokes that are flexible enough that I'm not sitting in one spot for upwards of 2 minutes, but not so short that I constantly have to be moving. And that's why I really, really like these Pan-Asian smokes. You get them all the way through the line, and it is really, really comfortable. The arcs are a bit of an issue, of course, but the DPM is really, really nice. And assuming you can get used to these arcs, the utility you bring to the table is that you can push up with your friendly DDs to a lot of very common islands. You can arc over them and provide a lot of supporting firepower into these destroyer engagements. You have fast turret traverse, very easy to swap targets, and the ability to sit close to caps in open water situations. Not every map is going to provide you with the perfect island for your Des Moines or Worcester, let's say. It's a lot more flexible to have these smokes, but you don't have the utility of a radar. We're also lacking a hydro, and that is a big deal when you're playing a smoke-up cruiser. What do destroyer players like to target with their torps, myself included? It's usually a smoked-up cruiser farming. It's a very stationary target, very predictable, and so you're going to be the target of a lot of torpedoes. So you got to be a little aware of that. A good idea is to play angled in your smokes, constantly moving, not just sitting in one spot, letting the smoke bloom for multiple ticks, right? Not just letting one smoke puff happen. The smoke lasts for quite a while, so maybe spreading that smoke out, maneuvering around in it. Valparaiso, Mecklenburg here are actually going to take each other out, I believe. So let's move on to the middle of this map. This ship is the best, or one of the best, at dealing with enemy pushes. This line in general. Getting to Jinan is even crazier, but here we still get 8 torps per side alongside this torpedo reload booster, allowing us to dump an absurd amount of torpedoes out. 12-kilometer range here, alongside being deep waters, means unless they have a hydro, they're not spotting these torps until they're basically hitting them. That's the strength of deep waters here. They don't hit destroyers, but 0.8 kilometer detect is very scary for anyone trying to push up. 17,900 alpha damage here, 125 second reload, which is negated by this torpedo reload booster, I find. A lot of the time, you're not needing the torps all at once, but in certain crucial situations, like we'll see towards the end of this game, that ability to push a button and get your torps back instantly is really, really useful. Something I really enjoy about high DPM light cruisers is pushing up to islands like this one, cutting the number of angles that I'm exposed to, And then if I get pushed around these islands, it's so convenient to have torpedoes to back me up, right? If you're playing a light cruiser pushed up on an island, you're liable to getting rushed by battleships or something like that if your team decides to not support you, let's put it nicely. And having the torpedoes as that last-minute threat is a great deterrent. Sometimes people will just push you and you get dev strikes that way, but a lot of the time, it allows you to play more aggressive positions. And again, having this smoke screen to allow us to play some a little bit worse islands, giving us that freedom is so nice. But it is an exposed Citadel, it is a light cruiser, so you're gonna have to watch your angles. Fortunately, the ship has great detection as well. 9.7 is extremely comfortable here. There's that lack of hydro coming back to bite us here, but we have heals. Yes, finally at tier 9, we do get some heals. If you're thinking about skipping this line, I will say I find it does get best at tier 9 and tier 10, although they have been buffing it. Although this happened a little while ago, some of the nice DPM buffs that they've given this line have helped it out a ton. The fire chance is absolutely ridiculous. This is the highest fire chance you can get on cruisers, fires per minute wise, at tier 9. And Jinan is even ahead of things like Colbert at tier 10. If you're thinking about getting yourself a Colbert and you're worried about not being able to perform like John the Ruthless, because let's be honest, nobody really performs like John the Ruthless in Colbert. It's so much easier to play this line, guys. If you want that light cruiser experience, but you just know that you're not going to be able to survive like John can in some of those situations that he gets into, having the smoke is so nice. Having higher fires per minute than a Colbert is really good. It's worse DPM, but not by too much. The firing angles, or at least the shell velocity, I should say, is similarly bad, okay? You get a little more range, though, which is nice, but it's hard to hit at those longer ranges. Having the torps as a deterrent, as already mentioned, is really nice. I would highly recommend you get yourself Sejong or Jinan if you're at all interested in that Colbert or Smolensk playstyle. In fact, I just think Jinan at tier 10 is better than Smolensk these days, okay? It's one of those things where, yeah, Smolensk is the rare ship. It's in these auctions or whatever, Black Friday auction. I would just rather play Jinan these days, seriously. It is so much more flexible, versatile. I really do enjoy this line. I do want to talk a little bit about the firing angles, though, on Sejong specifically. When we go to Jinan, it's actually incredible. You get the same armor profile as Austin, right? So you get that 32mm upper belt. It allows you to tank some AP hits at close range, assuming you're angled. You can auto-bounce a lot of the armor piercing in this game. Not all light cruisers have that. It's really useful. And Jinan can do that thanks to 25-degree forward at firing angles and 31-degree rearward firing angles. With Sejong, though, yeah, we get 36-degree forward firing angles and 35-degree kiting angles. So you see how broadside I have to get here. This is, again, why having smokes is really useful. I do also want to note that these ships can get blind fired, of course. That is a threat that you have to worry about these days. And so I'm always trying to maneuver in my smoke, and crucially, I'm salvo firing here, okay? Sometimes you'll see me get a little lazy, hold mouse 1. This is not the time to do that, okay? That is going to be a great way to showcase exactly where your ship is to the enemy who might try to blind fire you. We're watching Le Havre turrets here, and we're seeing that he's really trying to get a bead on us here. So I'm maneuvering and hopefully staying out of a Citadel range here. We get lucky, right? Le Havre has some pretty good dispersion, as we know, so we got some pretty bad dispersion there. Unlocked, but every once in a while, these ships with good Sigma give you almost lock-on accuracy. It is kind of wild. He doesn't have much of a superstructure, and that is the downside of this HE, is that you gotta hit superstructures, otherwise it's not penning. So on paper, the DPM looks incredible, right? We're better than things like Seattle, even at 243,000 HE DPM on Seattle, second place at tier 9. Sejong is 288. It's way ahead, right? But it's that lack of pen. We have to hit those superstructures. Fortunately, Le Havre does not have the reload booster that we see on French battlecruiser line. That allows me to turn out and use my torps. Looks like I didn't need it though. However, that does put them on cooldown. So what happens when an Izumo starts rushing us? Well, I get to use my reload booster to get the torps back instantly. You may think you want to greed for both sides of your torps, spin around, and then reload boost on both sides of your torps again. I find that is just too time consuming. I want to launch one side of torps, use a booster, launch the same side again, and then maybe turn around. Otherwise, it takes too much time, and honestly, the main guns here are quite good. You notice the mistake I made here, by the way? I missed the torps, obviously, right? Big mistake, but I didn't have to. If you use widespread at close range, you should notice that the furthest ahead torp, the torp furthest towards your bow, actually gets better firing angles. And I should have done that there. So it's a cool bit of tech that I like to show off, but for some reason I just didn't think of doing it there. So misplay there on my part. And we are going to go down in this one. We got like a 5.5 kilometer smoke fire, so well detected there by the destroyer. We are going to win this one. However, I think this was an excellent showcase of what this line is capable of. Stalling out enemy pushes, that's the side you got to get to. You got to get to where the enemy team is pushing. You're firing arcs, your shell velocity doesn't allow for you to really chase people. It means your torps are essentially out of the equation. So really key to playing this line is figuring out where the enemy team is going and trying to go meet them on their strong side. That's where this line is going to be at its best. And honestly, I think it's one of the best lines in the entire game at that role. As far as light cruisers go, these are easily some of the best to play just because they have so much versatility thanks to their smoke, their high DPM main guns, and the torps that are pretty terrifying to push in unless you have a hydro. And why don't we finish up this video with a live battle just to showcase some of that positional elements, as light cruisers are often about where you position. Just because we have smokes doesn't mean we shouldn't use island cover. This is like free duration on our smokes in the late game. We have 4 of them, and those can be used up pretty quickly early on, so we don't want to use them all. Sometimes you just don't get islands like this one, though, that allow you to farm over them for free, so that's where having that smoke flexibility is really, really nice. As for our battle, we got super ships in this one, so worth being a little bit careful about that. Tier 9 does not have the best matchmaker these days, if we're being honest. And at least we have a bit more range than some light cruisers do. And mostly the strength here is going to be that the smoke lets us play on a lot of maps where otherwise we might not be able to. I would love to get some shots in this marsh, so I'm not sure if I can get over this. Actually, we can. Barely, but we can. Now, I want to make note of where our team is positioning here. So our Iowa, understandably, not playing the 9-10 line. Our Barbiano has not played the 9-10 line either. And so is Hawaii. So that means we could get pushed from this side. And that would be my worry at this point. So do we greed for torps out here? Probably not. I just want to be careful, is the idea. With light cruisers, all cruisers in general, you're looking for opportunities to get a bit of chip damage in, support your friendly DDs, but not lose too much HP in the early game, right? So I'm looking for Montana, Indiana, Lepanto. That's a lot of battleships over here, and Shikishima's here. The last real spot that could have spawned a battleship is probably here, and I think that is going to be the Ushikov, which, yes, Ushikov is right there. So now that we know where everybody is, or maybe not everybody, but a lot of the threats to us, we can think about getting a little bit more aggressive. I want to try. Do I get spotted? I don't get spotted. Nice. So this island does cover us. I have my smoke available to me as an option here if I did get spotted there. Now the enemy team is a lot stronger here. We get a fire instantly. That's kind of funny. The enemy team is a lot stronger here. So I am thinking about not running away right now, but considering it for the future, okay? I talked about how the torps allow us to stall out or deter people from pushing us, but it's a super ship game, all right? So we want to be careful. Shikishima on the flank is, of course, quite spooky, but he's turning away at this point. Looks like he doesn't have fire prevention, though, so we do get a double fire. That's pretty cool. Now, Marseille, Bremen could be pushing out here. So let's think about torping some common choke points. Haven't used the torps yet, but it could be worth thinking about right now. I'm actually going to smoke. Okay. The reason being is I'm a little worried about getting spotted through here, and I want to send some nice torps through here or here. So let's go with these ones first, and then use our booster. And then we're going to use them here. See, we're not going to get greedy for all the torps all at once, but what we are going to do is use some of them, right? And that's fine. That's more than enough. Do have a Vermont here who is still healthy. Marseille's starting to push. Let's keep an eye out for that. Little worried there. You know, the more they push this flank, though, the more they open themselves up to our guys here. So, worth mentioning that. All right. Do I land any torps here? There's a bit of a gap. Marseille, also known for hydro. So I guess we'll see. But decent deterrence. Looks like I might get one, actually. And that should be pretty big damage. Yep, that is 14k. And a flood. Lovely. So we get blind fired. That's fine. Our smoke runs out. That is also fine. And maybe we can catch this Marceau. Look at how much lead I have to give, though, on these guns. It's quite a lot. It is quite a lot. Looks like Bremen gets a shot towards us. And actually, I don't get anything on... Or I don't finish off the Marceau. That is too bad. Now, worth considering, our Vermont is pretty far away. Our Iowa is not healthy. So I want to start kiting from here, okay? This is maybe a little late even, because Hawaii is going to be the problem as for spotting us. But maybe he doesn't push up quite yet. Ushakov there is pretty spooky. I might have waited a little too long, guys. We might be dead. Hawaii is not full pushing yet. So, let's torp here. And do we torp this side? Shikishima is leaving the 9-10 line. Okay, so we're always thinking about battleships and the angles they have on us. Marseille also has kited. Good, 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 good. Marseille is basically battleship shells for us, as far as we're concerned, but it is worth thinking about what angles you're exposed to. I don't want to open up yet, even if I had angles on Hawaii. I don't think I do. It's worth noting that I think we're losing the other flank, but this one is also stalling out. Bit tricky, that. Bit tricky. So I've kited too far, right? So playing it a little too safe. I was worried about Marseille charging, Ushakov charging here, that kind of thing. And because of that, we're pretty much losing the other flank. And now, where do we play, right? Because they're probably not going to be pushing this anytime soon. It's a bit tricky. Now, I think we're going to go back to the middle, all right? Central positioning is a great spot to go to for any cruiser. There's more islands over here, too. And so we're going to try and make use of that if we can. Thinking about, does Marceau spot us if we open up here? That would be the concern. Let's give it a go. He does. Okay. That's fine. So we look for Shikishima shots. We look for Marseille shots, potentially. Get ready for a slow down and turn in type of angle. Yep, there it is. So we can go dark. Just wanted to test. That's all. Sometimes you can get away with it, sometimes you can't. One single battleship salvo, pretty easy to dodge. Multiple, quite a lot harder. Actually, we are going to smoke right now because Ushakov is here, and I want to shoot him a little bit more, and Shikishima looks like he might be pushing in as well. And we're clearly spotted from the flank, right? We'll think about Hawaii, too. I didn't bloom this smoke too much. Probably could have done a better job on that. Okay, Shikishima is going to blind fire us. Wow. I'm holding mouse 1, so perhaps that is my bad. But we're moving, right? We're moving in our smoke. That's what we're trying to do. Okay, Bremen is low. This Hawaii is quite low. Can I arc over that? I cannot. See, they're playing outside of my range here. This is hard, right? It's hard. It's not easy to play these light cruisers all the time. Yeah, Marceau is on the flank. Okay, so I'm speeding up into these torpedoes, unfortunately. Unfortunately. So, not having a DD on the flank makes things very challenging, right? Oh, actually, they ran out. Cool. 1 minute, 6 seconds until our smoke. So, leaving early, of course, has this issue here. Shikishima's got his plane up, so he's probably looking for us. Marseille did not shoot us. Got to keep you out on a swivel. We're undetected. Nice. So yeah, we're looking like this one's turning into a blowout. I don't think we played this poorly, necessarily. Some games are just blowouts, right? And with these live games, I tend to get a lot of those. Oh, man. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. There's not much else I can do about that, you know? Let me torp there. Perhaps. And then what? I don't know. Maybe we send some torps through this gap. There's Bremen. Oh, actually, we're hydroed. That's quite bad. Why? Makes sense. Makes sense. He'd have his hydro up. So now even if Ushakov comes around the corner, I actually can't smoke and get away. But maybe we're bait, and our torps will be good here. Although it looks like Indiana has shot us. Pretty scary. Okay, Ushakov not eating those torpedoes. Actually, he backed off. We're fine. We're fine for now. But certainly a challenging position. Is he going to just continue to push us? Looks like it. And our torp angles don't quite let me. We're going to do the widespread thing. Something shooting us from behind. Okay, so he's still on the AP, fortunately. HE, he would have killed me already. My team finally helps us out. Torp angle problems, gun firing angle problems, but okay. We did all right. Very tricky. Let's smoke. Actually, you know what? Let's use a booster. We're not going to get a chance. We're not going to get much of a chance here. Oh no, we're caught on the island. Guys, look at the gap and we're caught. Oh no. I was hoping I could get across this a little bit and then maybe send some torps here if Shikishima is pushing us. And of course, Ushakov is a big problem as well. He is slowing down, so we'll go like that. Great. So some last-ditch torps out there. Oh, we landed some torps here. Yeah, hello. Overpens? I should have saved, I guess. Yep, overpens. Nice. Cool. And we do manage to finish off the Ushakov. That's kind of hype. AP's doing some decent work. I should have saved, I guess. Into the cove we go! No, don't kill me! Well, we gave it our best shot, okay? I talked you through some of the thought process, and games just happen like this, man. Like, there is... I don't think there's much I could have done differently there, okay? I really don't, because the enemy team played smart on our flank. They did not over push, and that's what a Sejong wants to deal with, right? And so we didn't get too much value out of our torps until the end, right? Until the end. And we did get some nice value out of them, right? It finished off Ushakov, did some decent damage to Shikishima, but didn't get an opportunity to really set up and farm because we didn't get any DD spotting, right? We didn't have spotting on our flank to really let us farm, and they weren't really in range to allow us to do that either. So it's not easy to play light cruisers at all, but what I like about Sejong, and of course going to Jinan as well, is the flexibility, right? A lot of light cruisers on that flank would have been in some pretty big trouble once they decided to leave that island, you know, at fear of being over pushed there, like we did. And having that smoke in the middle of the map, open water, to just set up and farm for a little bit, even though, again, we just really didn't have enough spotting to really showcase in that battle. But that's why we had the first game for post-commentary, right? We want to showcase that a little bit more. The DPM here really is no joke, okay? I know they recommend you to go full torp build meme thing, but guys, you have your torps at the push of a button. if you really need them. Otherwise, you can afford to wait the 112 seconds, right? Please go for main gun build. It is so much more consistent, and you really do get solid DPM out of this thing. Here's the commander build that I've been running on this one, having the extra HP, because you really don't have a lot of HP early. You get healing, which is nice, but that's very low HP for getting into super ship games. Consider that you're fighting ships that have upwards of 130k HP at times, like Ushikov, right? So they have 100k more than you. We need all the HP that we can possibly get, the help we can get there. And then torps plus fires, right? Fires are a lot of our damage as well. You should see a pretty even split between the torps and the main guns and fires for damage. Here is the armor layout. Pretty good. Having this 32 mil plate is really nice, but you do have to show a lot of broadside with Sejong in particular. Jinan feels a little more comfortable that way. And concealment's nice, maneuverability's decent. Overall, an underrated pick, I think. A bit of a interesting way to go about it. The obvious pick with Lepanto, the best pick with Riga, and the underrated pick with Sejong. But these three, I think, are the best options for the vast majority of people. Most interesting, diverse playstyle. Izumo kind of sucks these days, quite honestly, and Fletcher is good, but Gearing, Fletcher, they're just okay DDs, hybrid DDs at this point, and honestly, I think you're getting much more interesting playstyles and much better ships and playstyles from these three. Lepanto going for Colombo, and Riga going for Petro, and of course Sejong going for Jinan. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.